58 of our 365-day Bible read. So exciting. This light right here. I am in the basement. And yeah, but that's okay. All right, so yes, today is day 58 of our 365-day Bible read. And today we're going to be reading from Numbers 18, 19, and 20. And then we will do the Bible study for Numbers chapters 18, 19, and 20 from the Old Testament. And then we're going to go on over to the New Testament and we're going to read Mark chapter 7, and then we'll do the Bible study for Mark chapter 7. And I am following the year reading Bible schedule from ESV.org. And I'm going to get started. If you do look on ESV.org on the Bible schedule that I'm following, I did not start from April's date, from when we started these lives reading the Bible. I started from January 1st's date, and that way we can start at the beginning of the Old Testament and the beginning of the New Testament. We are reading the Bible straight through, a little bit of the Old Testament and a little bit of the New Testament every day. Straight through, not skipping any chapters or any books. So yes, so again, today we're going to be reading from Numbers chapters 18, 19, and 20, and then we'll do the Bible study for Numbers chapters 18, 19, and 20 from the Old Testament. And then from the New Testament, we're going to read Mark chapter 7, and we'll do the Bible study for Mark chapter 7. All right, let's get started. Again, I'm in the basement, so if there's like loud noises and stuff down here, then yes, that's why. It's just the noises of the basement. So, all right, let's get started. From the Old Testament, Numbers chapter 18. Duties of priests and Levites. Numbers chapter 18. So the Lord said to Aaron, you and your sons and your father's houses, you and your sons and your father's house with you shall bear inequity connected with the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you shall bear inequity connected with your priesthood. And with you bring your brothers also, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may join you and minister to you while you and your sons with you are before the tent of the testimony. They shall keep guard over you and over the whole tent, but shall not come near to the vessels of the sanctuary or to the altar, lest they and you die. They shall join you and keep guard over the tent of meeting for all the service of the tent, and no outsider shall come near you. And you shall keep guard over the sanctuary and over the altar, that there may never again be wrath on the people of Israel. And behold, I have taken your brothers, the Levites, from among the people of Israel. They are a gift to you, given to the Lord to do the service of the tent of meeting. And you and your sons with you shall guard your priesthood for all that concerns the altar, and that is within the veil. And you shall serve. I give your priesthood as a gift, and any outsider who comes near shall be put to death. Then the Lord spoke to Aaron, behold, I have given you charge of the contributions made to me, all the consecrated things of the people of Israel. I have given them to you as a portion, and to your sons as a perpetual due. This shall be yours of the most holy things, reserved from the fire, every offering of theirs, every grain offering of theirs, and every sin offering of theirs, and every guilt offering of theirs, which they render to me, shall be most holy to you and to your sons. In a most holy place shall you eat it. Every male may eat it. It is holy to you. This also is yours, the contribution of their gift, all the wave offerings of the people of Israel. I have given them to you and to your sons and daughters with you as a perpetual due. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat it. All the best of the oil and all the best of the wine and of the grain, the first fruits, what they give to the Lord, I give to you. The first ripe fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Everything that opens the womb of all flesh, whether man or beast, which they offer to the Lord, shall be yours. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man you shall redeem, and the firstborn of unclean animals you shall redeem. And their redemption price at a month old you shall redeem them. You shall fix at 5 shekels in silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat, you shall not redeem. They are holy. You shall sprinkle their blood on the altar and shall burn their fat as a food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. But their flesh shall be yours, as the breast that is waved and as the right thigh are yours. All the holy contributions that the people of Israel present to the Lord I give to you, and to your sons and daughters with you, as a perpetual due. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord for you and for your offspring with you. And the Lord said to Aaron, you shall have no inheritance in their land, neither shall you have any portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance among the people of Israel. To the Levites I have given every tithe in Israel for an inheritance in return for their service that they do, their service in the tent of meeting, so that the people of Israel do not come near the tent of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tent of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations, and among the people of Israel they shall have no inheritance. For the tithe of the people of Israel, which they present as a contribution to the Lord, I have given to the Levites for an inheritance. Therefore, I have said of them that they shall have no inheritance among the people of Israel. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, moreover, you shall speak and say to the Levites, when you take from the people of Israel the tithe that I have given you from them for your inheritance, then you shall present a contribution from it to the Lord, a tithe of the tithe. And your contribution shall be counted to you as though it were the grain of the threshing floor, and as the fullness of the winepress. So you shall also present a contribution to the Lord from the people of Israel. And from it you shall give the Lord's contribution to Aaron the priest. Out of all the gifts to you, you shall present every contribution due to the Lord. From each its best part is to be dedicated. Therefore you shall say to them, when you have offered from it the best of it, then the rest shall be counted to the Levites as produce of a threshing floor, and as produce of the winepress, and you may eat it in any place, you and your households, for it is your reward in return for your service in the tent. In the tent of meeting. And you shall bear no sin by reason of it. When you have contributed the best of it, but you shall not profane the holy things of the people of Israel, lest you die. All right, so that was Numbers chapter 18, and we're now going to do the Bible study for Numbers chapter 18, and then we'll go on and read Numbers chapter 19, do the Bible study, and Numbers chapter 20, and do the Bible study. This is all from the Old Testament. All right. I am in the basement, so the light has a glare, and it's noises down here, so bear with me today. All right, Numbers chapter 18 Bible study. What did God do with all the heave offerings? All the offerings would be for the use of the Levites. It would be their inheritance from the Lord. What were the Levites to tithe to God? A tithe of the best of all that the Levites received would go to the priests. All right, that was the Bible study for Numbers chapter 18. It was only 2 questions. So we're now going to go and read Numbers chapter 19, and then we'll do the Bible study for Numbers chapter 19. I decided to do it this way instead of reading like 18, 19, and 20, and then doing the Bible study for 18, 19, and 20. I decided to read a chapter, do the Bible study, then read the next chapter, do the Bible study after. So do the Bible studies right after we read the chapter. All right, so Numbers chapter 19. These chapters are all really short. It's like, yeah, very short. Okay. Numbers chapter 19, laws for purification. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, This is the statute of the law that the Lord has commanded. Tell the people of Israel to bring you a red heifer without defect, in which there is no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. And you shall give it to Eleazar the priest. And it shall be taken outside the camp and slaughtered before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood toward the front of the tent of meeting 7 times. And the heifer shall be burned in his sight. Its skin, its flesh, and its blood with its dung shall be burned. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet yarn, and throw them into the fire burning the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water, and afterward he may come into the camp. But the priest shall be unclean until evening. The one who burns the heifer shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his body in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And a man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and deposit them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall be kept for the water for impurity for the congregation of the people of Israel. It is a sin offering. And the one who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. And this shall be a perpetual statute for the people of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourns among them. Whoever touches the dead body of any person shall be unclean 7 days. He shall cleanse himself with the water on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and so be clean. But if he does not cleanse himself on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, he will not become clean. Whoever touches a dead person, the body of anyone who has died, and does not cleanse himself, defiles the tabernacle of the Lord, and that person shall be cut off from Israel, because the water for impurity was not thrown on him. He shall be unclean. His uncleanness is still on him. This is the law when someone dies in a tent. Everyone who comes into the tent and everyone who is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days, and every open vessel that has no cover fastened on it is unclean. Whoever in the open field touches someone who was killed with a sword, or who died naturally, or touches a human bone or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. For the unclean they shall take some ashes of the burnt sin offering, and fresh water shall be added in a vessel. Then a clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water and sprinkle it on the tent and on all the furnishings and on the persons who were there and on whoever touched the bone or the slain or the dead or the grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle in on the unclean on the third day and on the seventh day. Thus, on the seventh day he shall cleanse him, and he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and at evening he shall be clean. If the man who is unclean does not cleanse himself, that person shall cut off from the midst of the assembly, since he was defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. Because the water for impurity has not been thrown on him, he is unclean, and it shall be a statute forever for them. The one who sprinkles the water for impurity shall wash his clothes, and the one who touches the water for impurity shall be unclean until evening. And whatever the unclean person touches shall be unclean, and anyone who touches it shall be unclean until evening. Okay, so we're now going to do the Bible study for what we just read, Numbers chapter 19. And then we'll do the Bible, then we'll go and read Numbers chapter 20 and do the Bible study for that. All right. Numbers chapter 19 Bible study, it's literally only 2 questions. These chapters are really short, so the Bible studies are really short. It only pulls the important things from each chapter. So yes, so 2 questions here. Numbers chapter 19 Bible study. What was mixed with water for purification of sins? Ashes of a red heifer was mixed with water for purification of sins. Where was it stored? The ashes of the heifer for the purification mixture were stored outside the camp of Israel in a clean place. All right, so that was the Bible study for Numbers chapter 19, and we're now going to do the we're now going to do the reading for Numbers chapter 20, and then we will do the Bible study for Numbers chapter 20. All right, Numbers chapter 20, the death of Miriam. And the people of Israel, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zin in the first month. And the people stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. The waters of Meribah. Now there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people quarreled with Moses and said, Would that we had perished when our brothers perished before the Lord? Why have you brought the assembly of the Lord into this wilderness, that we should die here, both we and our cattle? And why have you made us come up out of Egypt to bring us to this evil place? It is no place for grain or figs or vines or pomegranates, and there is no water to drink. Then Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. And the glory of the Lord appeared to them. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take the staff and assemble the congregation, you and Aaron your brother, and tell the rock before their eyes to yield its water. So you shall bring water out of the rock for them and give drink to the congregation and their cattle. And Moses took the staff from before the Lord as he commanded him. Moses strikes the rock. Then Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, Hear now, you rebels, shall we bring water for you out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand and struck the rock with his staff twice, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their livestock. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, Because you did not believe in me to uphold me as holy in the eyes of the people of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land that I have given them. These are the waters of Meribah, where the people of Israel quarreled with the Lord, and through them he showed himself holy. Edom refuses passage. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the hardship that we have met, how our fathers went down to Egypt, and we lived in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians dealt harshly with us and our fathers. And when we cried to the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. And here we are in Kadesh, a city of the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your land. We will not pass through field or vineyard or drink water from a well. We will go along the king's highway. We will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left until we have passed through your territory. But Edom said to him, you shall not pass through, lest I come out with the sword against you. And the people of Israel said to him, we will go up by the highway, and if we drink of your water, I and my livestock, then I will pay for it. Let me only pass through on foot, nothing more. But he said, you shall not pass through. And Edom came out against them with a large army and with a strong force. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his territory. So Israel turned away from him. The death of Aaron. And they journeyed from Kadesh, and the people of Israel, the whole congregation, came to Mount Hor. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron at Mount Hor, on the border of the land of Edom, let Aaron be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter the land that I have given to the people of Israel, because you rebelled against my command at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son. And Aaron shall be gathered to his people, and shall die there. Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up to Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son. And Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron had perished, all the house of Israel wept for Aaron 30 days. Okay, that was the Bible study for Numbers chapter 20. And that was the reading for Numbers chapter 20. And we're now going to do the Bible study for Numbers chapter 20. And then we're going to go on over to the New Testament and read Mark chapter 7. And then we'll do the Bible study for Mark chapter 7. But okay, for what we just read, Numbers chapter 20 Bible study. Who died at Kadesh? Miriam died at Kadesh. What did the children of Israel complain about at Kadesh? The people had no water to drink. From what did Moses supply the need of the people? God sent Moses to a rock to receive water out of it. What was Moses' error? Moses was angry at Israel's complaining and did not halo God before them as the one who is providing the water for them. What was Moses' punishment before? What was Moses' punishment because of this error? Moses and Aaron would not lead the people into the land promised to them. Who refused to let Israel cross their border? The people of Edom did not let Israel cross the Jordan. Who are these people? Edom is the descendants of Esau, Jacob's brother. Who died at Mount Hor? Aaron died at Mount Hor. All right, that was the Bible study for Numbers chapter 20, and we're now going to go on over to the New Testament and read Mark chapter 7, and then we'll do the Bible study for Mark chapter 7, and then our day will be complete. All right. Mark chapter 7. Okay. Mark chapter 7. Traditions and commandments. Now, when the Pharisees gathered to him with some of the scribes who had come from Jerusalem, they saw that some of his disciples ate with hands that were defiled, that is, unwashed. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands properly, holding to the tradition of the elders. And when they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other traditions that they observe, such as the washing of cups and pots and copper vessels and dining couches. And the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, "Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands?" And he said to them, "Well, did Isaiah prophesy to you, hypocrites, as it is written? This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men." You leave the commandment of God and hold to the tradition of men. And he said to them, "You have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to establish your tradition. For Moses said, 'Honor your father and your mother,' and whoever reviles father or mother must surely die. But you say, 'If a man tells his father or his mother, whatever you would have gained from me in Corban, that is given to God,' then you no longer permit him to do anything for his father or mother, thus making void the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down. And many such things you do. What defiles a person?" And he called the people to him again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. There is nothing outside a person that by going into him can defile him, but the things that come out of a person are what defile him." And when he had entered the house and left the people, his disciples asked him about the parable. And he said to them, "Then are you also without understanding? Do you not see that whatever goes into a person from outside cannot defile him, since it enters not his heart but his stomach, and is expelled? Thus he declared all foods clean. And he said, what comes of a person is what defiles him. For within him, I'm sorry, for from within, out of the heart of a man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within, and they defile a person. The Syrophoenician woman's faith. The Syrophoenician woman's faith. And from there he arose and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and did not want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. But immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she answered him, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." And he said to her, "For this statement you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter." And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. Jesus heals a deaf man. Then he returned from the region of Tyre and went through Sidon to the Sea of Galilee and the region of Decapolis. And they brought to him a man who was deaf and had a speech impediment. And they begged him to lay his hand on him. And taking him aside from the crowd privately, he put his fingers into the ears, and after spitting, touched his tongue. And looking up to heaven, he sighed and said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And his ears were opened, his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. And Jesus charged them to tell no one. But the more he charged them, the more zealously they proclaimed it. And they were astonished beyond measure, saying, He has done all things well. He even makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. Beautiful. So that was Mark chapter 7. So we're now going to do the Bible study for Mark chapter 7, and then our day will be complete. All right. Mark chapter 7 Bible study. Who are we to take care of first with our money? Before we give our money as a gift, we must provide for our mother and father. This honors the commandment of God. Why does food not make you unclean? The body eliminates food, even unconsecrated food. It does not go into the heart. What makes us unclean? The things in our heart can make us unclean. Evil inside produces evil outside. What is the difference between the purging of food and the purging of the heart? The purging of food is a physical cleansing. The cleansing of the heart is a spiritual cleansing. Why was Jesus not willing to help the Phoenician woman at first? The Phoenician woman was a Gentile who worshipped idols. She did not worship God. All right, so that was the Bible study for Mark chapter 7, and our day is complete. A recap for what we did today from the Old Testament. We read Numbers chapter 18, chapter 19, and chapter 20, and we did the Bible study for Numbers chapter 18, chapter 19, and chapter 20, and then we went on over to the New Testament and we read Mark chapter 7, and we did the Bible study for Mark chapter 7. I am following the year reading Bible schedule from esv.org, and I did start at January 1st's date when we started these Bible readings in April. I did not start at April's date. That way we could read straight through the Bible from the Old Testament from the beginning and from the New Testament from the beginning. We're reading right through. We're not skipping any chapters or any books. So, yes. So today's date that we're on the Bible reading is February 27th date on the reading schedule. So, yes, February 27th, and, but for Mark, I did not split up Mark chapter 7. I read it straight through. I didn't split it up into two as it's listed on here, because the next chapter they have split up in 3. So, I'm just reading it. I read it straight through. So, so we're on that date if you want to go and look ahead. So, so that completes our day. And I love you guys. God loves you. You are important. You matter. You are enough. You are valuable. You are worthy. You are beautiful. And I love you. And you rock. You Jesus warriors. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Go enjoy your Sunday and be great.